Hi, I'm Rob Zaucha, Battalion Chief for the Auburn City Fire Department.
And I'm Jeff Ambrosia, Yamaski Landscape Architecture.
And today we're here at our Maidu Fire Station discussing some of the fire-wise and water-wise concepts and plants. Jeff, we get asked from the public about defensible space a lot and whether or not that means clearing all vegetation from that zone. Could you help answer the best?
Clearing vegetation within the defensible space of a house of 100 feet is not only not practical, but it's not advised. You need plant material around your house for natural habitat and just for general appearance. So it's a matter of planting it properly. Home hardening suggests that we have a 5-foot area right against the house that doesn't have any plant material at all, and that's to help to prevent it from carrying onto the house itself. The next 30 feet, it's very important to keep low-growing plant material, and if you have trees, the trees are spaced far apart and they don't overreach the house. And in that 30-foot zone, you could have a pool, or you could have a patio, or you could have lawn. It's not to say that water-wise landscaping completely eliminates lawn. There can be a bit of lawn in a landscape. It's just a matter of keeping it in the right proportions. And then beyond the 30 feet, it's really a matter of maintaining it properly. You can have larger shrubs, larger trees, but nothing that's going to climb from the ground up to the trees and nothing that's going to transmit the fire between the trees.
Jeff, why don't we discuss a little bit the design we have here at the fire station?
Yeah, so obviously we're going to focus on water-wise plant material and fire-wise plant material so we can create a bit of a demonstration garden for the public to see. Other important components of the landscape include creating islands of plant material. So it's important if you're planting that you've got space between areas and between plants, and you can create islands of plant material that are all using the same water, the same amount of water. It's what's called a hydrozone. And having proper spacing between these islands is important because if one island were to catch fire, it's nice to have space between the islands and makes it for a better defensible space.
And what type of irrigation did we install here?
Well, as you recall, before we started the project, it was all lawn and it was overhead spray irrigation, which is incredibly inefficient. So removing all of the lawn and putting in drip irrigation is what's important here. And so what we've done is we've created a grid of subsurface drip irrigation that has emitters on a regular basis, and it's a much more efficient way of irrigating all the plant material. You don't get the overspray and you don't get any evaporation.
And how should we best maintain our plants?
Well, maintenance is crucial. It's important to make sure that you maintain the irrigation system, to make sure that it's running at all times. And it's also important to maintain around the plant material. Keeping dead wood out of plants is very important. Keeping the area around the base of the plant clear is important. And making sure that you don't get too many large clusters of plants that are encroaching on each other. Proper spacing is important.
And how about the irrigation? What's the best way to maintain?
Well, irrigation is always important on every project, even if you're planting native landscapes. A misconception is that native plant material doesn't need irrigation, and that's not true in our area. So water-wise irrigation is important. We use drip irrigation almost primarily for projects in this area and throughout the state for that matter.
So when we discuss mulch and that loss rate, what's the best mulch or material for us to use?
Well, yeah, bark mulch is really important, and what it does is it helps to keep the moisture content high in the soil, and it also keeps weeds down. So it's kind of a dual force there. Choosing the right mulch is also important. A lot of people like the looks of the shredded redwood, otherwise known as gorilla hair. It's by far the most flammable of all of the bark mulches. So something that has a fairly large scale to it, nothing that's a lot of shreds is important when choosing the mulch.
And how about its placement around the house?
So there's a hardening zone around the house of about 5 feet that's really important to keep mulch away from. And typically we like to recommend some gravel or some decorative gravel mulch, something along those lines. But from there out, it's important to get about a 3-inch layer of bark mulch.
And what advice do you have for homeowners that might be designing their landscape?
Well, take advantage of your local nurseries. They've got great plant material that works in your region. Consult with a designer of some sort. And there's a lot of things that you can learn online. So really having the proper design up front is the best way to make sure you're going to have a successful landscape.